Hi guys, welcome to Wealthy Wednesdays. Hello, hello, hello. We're on Instagram. Thank you guys for tuning in. Are we on Facebook? Rick D. Realtor, thank you for joining. I appreciate it. Denise, thank you for joining. Ventura Jason, Moni 16, thank you guys for joining. Susana Lopez Renteria, hola, hello. C. Carrillo, thank you, Marie. Morning Love. Sinbuck 4, thank you guys for joining. Awesome, 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 awesome. Thank you guys for joining Wealthy Wednesdays. Who else is on here? Let me see. Ileana Ponce, Alonso Espinosa 66. Alonso, yes. Hello. And who is on Facebook? Who is on Facebook? I'd like to know. So, welcome to Wealthy Wednesdays, guys. I'm going to go ahead and get started. I am excited to share some news and I want to make sure that you guys get this information. Maribel, how are you? La Gordi's creation that she just made my beautiful mug that had a mama bear on there, the gold one. So if you guys want to get some stuff done, go to La Gordi's creation. Hi, Kathy, how are you? Okay, fantastic. Welcome to Wealthy Wednesdays, everybody. Thank you for the love. I absolutely appreciate it. Let's get started. It's 7:03, and so let's get started. So if it's your first time, please post on here what city you guys are tuning in from if it's your first time. If it's not your first time, I'd like to know what you're currently doing. So thank you, I'm doing fantastic. So what are you currently doing if this is not your first time? I want to know if you're eating, cooking, hopefully you're not on the dinner table. But what are you currently doing if it's not your first time? If it's your first time, I'd like to know what city you guys are tuning in from. Pico Rivera, awesome. Welcome. El Monte, I love it. I actually grew up in El Monte. Okay, fantastic. Now, oh, you're eating pancakes. I love it. Marie, first timer from Camarillo. I love it. If you are an alumni from the financial boot camp, giving your daughter a bath. I love it. I actually get to do that hopefully very soon. Just finished eating pumpkin pie. Oh my God. You guys are making me so hungry. I actually eat dinner after Wealthy Wednesday. Awesome, awesome. Thank you guys. Keep posting on here what you are doing. The J Armada, hello, on your way home. I love it. You're on your drive home. Love it, love it. Ready to learn. Yay. Awesome. Okay, great. Fantastic. So, welcome to Wealthy Wednesdays. If you're watching it live, I appreciate you so much. If you're watching it on the replay, I absolutely appreciate you as well. I don't know if you guys know this, but any of the Wealthy Wednesdays, you guys can actually go into YouTube and go to Eva Macias and Associates. And I actually have old Wealthy Wednesdays on there. So you're more than welcome to go check them out as well if you're sometimes bored or if you're like, oh, yeah, you know what? Let me go hear it on the replay. You can. Awesome, Susana. So any alumni from the financial boot camp, hey, Tanya. Any alumni, please post on here that you are an alumni. Marisela, feliz cumpleaños. And I know you're an alumni. Tanya is also an alumni. So if you're an alumni, please post that you're an alumni. Fantastic. All right, everybody. So few things first. If you want, hello, Elias, driving to drop off my nephew. Fantastic. If you want a free copy, ayuda en español, hello. If you want a free copy of my book, go to evamacias.com and you can actually give us your email and we will go ahead and email you the free version. If you want to get it on Amazon, you're more than welcome to. But if you want to get a free copy sent over to your email, go to evamacias.com. We'll send you a free copy of the ebook. Okay? That's first and foremost. Second, just a few announcements in regards to financial bootcamp. And the reason why I'm asking for those who are alumni on here is because we have dates for 2021. Finally, financial bootcamp. So obviously, stay tuned. Continue to follow us on Facebook and on Instagram. We will be opening registration very soon for the 2021 dates, but I can let you know that it will be starting. The very first financial bootcamp for 2021 will begin, thank you for the clap, January 12th. So, January 12th, it's a Tuesday. Yes, tell your friends, tell all your friends. Please, 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 por favor, tell all your friends. and we will be opening up registration, I believe, very soon. So again, this is why I say stay tuned. Go to the website evamacias.com. We are definitely excited to be able to open it up again. Again, we won't be having any more for 2020 because the year's pretty much almost done. Thank you. I appreciate it, Kathy. She says, if you haven't taken Financial Bootcamp, I highly recommend it. Thank you. So I'm going to give you someone's testimonial. I haven't had the chance to post it up here or share it with you, but I'm going to share something with you. Another alumni, highly recommend it. Actually, for my alumni, can you guys post one big accomplishment that you guys have had from taking the financial boot camp? Because it's not just, hey, I recommend it, but why would you recommend it? Like, what did it do for you is what I like to know. Like, maybe one of you paid off a credit card. I'll give you a few testimonies that just come up. Two of them that just really, really stand out. So recently, my husband, tell your friends to tell their friends. Yes, yes. Thank you, ayuda en español. Recently, my husband helped this young couple, and I didn't get the pleasure of actually, I don't remember meeting her physically. We do meet a lot of people. And recently, my husband, they just bought a house, her and her boyfriend, and they sent me a video. And the video was, hi, Eva, I took your boot camp, and you said something in the boot camp that made a lot of sense to me. And fantastic. I'm going to pause my story really quickly. Tanya just said, I started saving more than I have ever. Yes, women. Awesome. So this couple did a video, and they said, you said something in financial boot camp that really got me thinking that I should act as if, and content a little bit about it is act as if you already have that item. So for example, with her, she wanted to buy a home. And so she started acting as if. So what do I mean by that? Is she started putting away money for her home as if it was her mortgage payment. That's how she saved money for her deposit. And now, because she has a mortgage payment, she's already built up the habit. So she was actually able to buy her house. She just closed escrow about a few weeks ago, no more than 2 weeks ago. And she's now a proud owner of a beautiful home here in the city of Whittier, not too far. Beautiful home. And so again, because guess what? Those few thousands of dollars, guess what she was spending them on? Shenanigans. Target, Amazon, Marshalls, all that stuff that does not make her any money, right? So Kathy goes, I was able to find money I didn't know I had, pay down debt, and was able to get life insurance for both of my parents. Winning. I love it. Yes, thank you guys. So saving money, paying off debt, finding money, just a lot of really fantastic things. And again, Financial Bootcamp works if you make it work. I can want, Valia and I can want, and we can turn purple just trying to get you guys to do these things. But if you don't come to every class and if you're not committed, then this is not for you. This is for someone who's just sick and tired of being sick and tired, or that feels like they can take themselves up to another level, whatever the next level looks like, right? So again, Financial Bootcamp, get signed up. So again, it will begin January 12th. So I'm really excited about that news. And so with today's topic, let's talk about, just kidding. So let's talk about today's Financial Bootcamp. It's not Financial Bootcamp, Wealthy Wednesday. So today's Wealthy Wednesday, I really wanted to talk to you about the long-term game. What do I mean by that? Long-term game. So we have short-term goals, we have, long-term goals. So for example, for some of you, a short-term goal might be that you want to buy a house within the next 1 to 3 years. But for some people, it might be, I want to buy a house within the next 7 to 10 years. It just depends how old you are, where you are financially, right? Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Yes, you need to do the work. We just give you the tools. Absolutely, 100%. So the long-term game. There's a few things that are long-term. So if you're in your 30s, you're in your 40s, and even if you're in your 50s, but if you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, mid-40s, long-term game is retirement planning, right? That's something that is in the long term. meaning you set up an account and the goal of that account is the long-term gain. You're not going to use those funds whatsoever until long-term, meaning more than 5, 10, 15, 20 years, 30 years. If you're 30 and you retire at 60, you add 30 years, that's 60, that's 30 years into that when you retire at 60. So that's the long-term gain. When you buy a house, for some people it'll be, I want to pay off this house in 15, let's just say on a shorter term it'd be 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, right? Those are long-term gains. Those are long-term commitments, right? And so a lot of the times I have seen people, and this happened to me once, freak out, make decisions that are making decisions that are abrupt per se because there's too much outer noise on the impact of what's going to have in your long-term gain. And so what I mean by that is, for example, let's just say you have a retirement account, right? You have, I don't know, $200,000 in your retirement account. And what do you do with that? You have $200,000. Those $200,000 are for your long-term gain, right? My goal is that you guys have more than 200,000, but let's just say you have $200,000 in your retirement account and the pandemic hit, right? What happens is immediately we go into this I'm freaked out mode, right? How many of you freaked out a little bit through the pandemic? Guilty. I'm guilty of it. I freaked out a few times. But we freak out and then we start making adjustments because we're freaked out that will potentially impact our retirement plan. So for example, let's just say that you've been putting away 15% into your retirement account, but because of the pandemic, you reduce that to 5%. Even though your income's still the same, you still have a job, you reduce that, even though everything else is still the same, and you reduced it out of fear, right? So I use that example because a lot of the times we make decisions that will impact our long-term gain based on our short-term, like, scare or fears. And so when it comes to retiring, retirement means long-term. It means out of sight, out of sight. Obviously, you want to make sure you're involved with your retirement plan, but you set it up where you're not going to use that money until the future, not right now. So, for example, in that scenario, if you reduced it from the 15%, and you reduced it by 10%, and now you're only saving 5%, but you didn't make an adjustment on your budget, then it doesn't make sense because you're still earning the same amount of money, you're saving less, and now you but you went out of fear, and so now what's happening is you're living out of fear, but you're still spending more. Does that make sense? So instead of you now shifting that money into your retirement plan, what you're doing is you're freaking out, and sometimes these emotions that are like the fear emotions, you start doing other things like overspending, spending on things you don't need, being super emotional and buying things out of emotion. You saw what was going on in the pandemic where there was the toilet paper situation, all that situation. Like we start acting out of fear, right? And so, and I get it. I haven't lived through a pandemic, so of course that was our natural state at that moment. But don't ever let those decisions impact your long-term gain, right? I'll give you an example of me personally that happened to me. So when I bought my first home, I bought it at the peak of the market. And in 2008, when the financial meltdown happened, my house was not appraised or didn't bring its value. My house was like 600,000, a little under 600,000. It was like 596, I think. I'm just gonna round it up to 600,000. So let's just say my first mortgage is 600,000. 2008, 2 years later, about two and a half years later, everything crashes. And so the value of my house is not 600,000. That was just what I bought it for. The goal was that the appraised value of that property is higher, but it wasn't. It was actually like 450. So mind you, I bought something at 600,000. It dropped to 450,000. Of course I'm freaking out. But what kept me sane from not making any huge radical decisions was that I had to understand and I had to talk to myself and say, Eva, everybody's like, letting go of their properties, they're in foreclosure, um, they're just like, I don't care. This is, just a lot of stuff happened. Some of you probably got impacted by that. But I understood that this was a long-term game at that time. So I remember telling my sister, I don't care that it's 450 right now because I'm not doing anything with this property anyways at this time. I'm not selling it. So it doesn't matter that the value is 450. The value is going to matter when I sell my house. And so again, I didn't allow the fear of, was I scared in 2008? Absolutely. But I didn't allow the fear to take over my thoughts and my emotions to a point where I was going to sell my house or get my house foreclosed on. So I acted out of, no, I'm going to save my house. I'm going to do whatever it takes to make sure that I stay in this home because I've worked my ass off to, put the deposit down. I've worked my ass off to be able to just even maintain this house. I'm not going to just let it go. And why? Because I said, I don't know when there's going to be another opportunity for me to buy again. And so for those reasons, I'm not letting this go, regardless of the fear that I had. So at that point, it became, I have a fear, or I'm going to raise my faith and my commitment more than my fear, and I'm going to act on this versus the fear. And so my example for me personally, I acted out of my faith. Was I scared? I was, but I still had to constantly remind myself that this was bigger than just that fear that I had. And so I continuously, did different things to make sure that I maintained this property. So I was able to keep it. And because I had that commitment and understanding that it was a long-term game, I kept making my payments. I had a modification done. I had multiple modifications done actually, and multiple modifications declined. I think I had like 8 modifications declined. And I just kept applying and making sure that we were going to keep this and we were going to keep this and we were going to keep this, or that I was going to keep it. And that was, instead of me shifting my fear and saying, oh my God, I'm going to lose this house, I said, no, what can I do to maintain it? What can I do to keep it? What can I do to make it happen? And I did. The energy, the result was going to be based on the energy that I was giving. I was giving more energy to wanting to keep it versus to wanting to just, F it, who cares? I'm just going to lose this house. The energy was being placed on, I'm going to keep this home and I'm going to make that happen. And so I did. And when I did sell that house, at that time, which was a few years ago, my conversation at that time was, now it's important for me to understand the value of this home and what it's worth. And also understand, and then a different type of fear came up is, do I sell it? Do I not? Do I keep it? Do I not? Do the numbers make sense? Why would I not want to keep it? For the most people, most wealth is established over time. So it was now a conversation where I sold the house, and even through selling the house, the profit was substantial. At that time, it mattered. This was years later from 2008. And so my understanding, and I had to recommit myself and recommit or establish my new belief system that I was going to keep this house, and that the fear wasn't going to take over it, and that I was going to be able to sell it in the future. And at that time, I can worry about, not even worry, but at that time, it'd be important for me to know the value of the property at that time. And so for that reason is why it's important that you understand, what game are you playing. Saving for retirement is a long term. Okay, one of the things that I see is people go into this fear, they reduce their contributions to their retirement accounts, and they forget to increase them once that fear has decreased and once they're settled, or once their income is still back to normal. They forget to go back to the 15% or whatever percentage they were putting. I see that often all the time. And then life happens, and then years go by, and you're like, oh my God, I only have 10 more years for retirement. Let me up it up a little bit more. And then you realize, oh my God, but cost of living's gone up, so now I can't afford to put it up. So what I'm saying is, it is so important for you to understand, are you in a short-term game or are you in the long-term game? Short-term is save for an emergency account. Short-term is pay down debt. You should be able to pay down your debt, depending on how much you have, in less than 5 years. For some of you, in 3 years. If some of you, even a year and a half. And so that should be, I want to get that out of the way immediately. I want to pay off my house is more of a long-term game. I want to buy a home. That should be something that you should definitely, get yourself into as quickly as you can. But just understanding the short-term goals are pay off debt, continue to establish my emergency savings account. Long-term would be to continue to fund your retirement account. and not just one, but multiple retirement accounts, right? Multiple investment vehicles at the end of the day. So just understanding the terms of each plan and why it's important. And when there are cases that fear comes up, like we have through a pandemic, like we have through elections, like we have through 2008, like we've had through, just different things that have happened to some of you, whether there's been a death in the family and, finances are now all over the place, whether there's been a divorce in the family and finances are all over the place. Understand that there's going to be short-term plans and long-term plans. Don't cheat yourself out of the long-term game because of these quick scenarios that have happened. So what my goal for you guys to take out of today's Wealthy Wednesday is understanding all of what you're currently doing with your money. It's either you're in the short term or in the long term. And what are you short term doing so that your long term gain can be abundant? And so one of the things that we teach at the boot camp is, what are you doing with your money today that either is making you money or is not making you money? You'll see a post go on about this, but most people, and this is really unfortunate, most people usually think, what can I buy with my money? Most people will not say, how much money can my money grow to be? So instead of like, what am I, so for example, if I have $100 here, and if we have like this person, what can I buy with my money? You give somebody $100, what can I buy with my money? If you're in that mentality, or you're in the mentality of, I have $100. Where can I place this money for it to make me more money? Person number two. So think about that for yourself. What type of person are you? Are you person type, are you person number one that says, I have $100, what am I going to spend it on? Or the reason why we're in so much credit debt is you haven't even earned the money and you've already spent the money. Is that you? Because that's a belief that somewhere along the line you convince yourself that that is okay. The other belief system, person number two, is I have $100. I have plenty with what I have, and where am I going to place this $100 to give me, how much money can I earn off of this $100? See the difference? How much money can I spend? Somebody, thank you for putting yourself out there. Person number one, ESN Whittier. I just want to say thank you for putting yourself out there and answering that, being open about it. So yeah, are you person number one? And the question is, how can I start becoming person number two so that I understand what game I'm playing? Because if you think about it, it's like in Monopoly or whatever game you guys play. You want to win, right? When you play board games, you want to win, right? Like we were watching Steve Harvey last night, Family Feud, my husband and I, and it's about winning, right? They win money. So what if you started handling your finances as a game, and you, instead of losing every month in the game of your life, you started playing to win, and started playing to win in the short term and in the long term. Long term meaning retirement plans. Long term meaning when you commit to buying a home, it'll be a 30-year mortgage or a 15-year mortgage. How, you know what I mean? Like those are long term. And how can you make sure you continue to fund these long term goals even through your short term income, short term commitments, things like that. So again, my goal with all of you is that you start asking yourself and be honest with yourself. Obviously, ESN Whittier just put it out there. But if you're person number one, it's okay. Don't beat yourself up for it. Just acknowledge it and say, I don't want to be that person anymore. And maybe sometimes you have to like actually, I don't know about you guys, but I like talking to myself sometimes. That's how I'm able to re-establish a new belief system that says, okay, I'm going to think a little differently, right? When you're driving in the car, I don't know about you guys, I used to do this when I used to drive a lot more. I would talk to myself and say, okay, Eva, who do I want to become? What do I need to do? What are the areas in my life that I can improve? And that's how I would learn to become a better person to myself. And if I'm a better person to myself, then you're going to be a better person to those around you. And so again, the long-term game. What is your long-term game? For everybody, it should be to have multiple retirement accounts. Multiple retirement accounts. We're in a country that is in $1 trillion of debt. Do not ever rely on the government to take care of you. It's not going to happen. You have experienced, you'll be waiting for money depending if they have the staff, depending if the mail's in, like there's so much ish that can happen. The mail service is taking forever. Oh, they can deposit that. Oh, but any time they can, so many like things that can happen. So again, this is why it's so important that through this pandemic, you then now realize why it is so important for the long-term game to be a priority for you. When you're playing the long-term game, you start making better choices when it comes to the things that you need to do right now. Understanding you're playing a game, a long-term game, you will then realize what? You will then realize that it is so important for you to make sure that you fund that first, and then you can fund your Amazons, and then you can spend in your, Target runs or whatever it is. So for that reason, it is so important that you understand the value of long term. 100%. And when you understand the value of that and understand, and by the way, um, learning to be okay with having hundreds of thousands of dollars in your name. I've seen this with some people where they'll be like, oh, I have, money in the bank. I have $250,000 and it shouldn't sit there. Like, what should I do with it? Like, I want to go spend it on something. No, be okay and comfortable having thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars in multiple accounts. One of them being a checking in your savings, one of them being, in your retirement accounts, one of them being in equity in your home. Be okay with that because you've worked hard to earn that. You've worked hard to establish that. And so be okay with living in abundance, whatever that looks like for you guys. But also, don't be blind. And so it is important that you're active and understand and pay attention to those things. Now, I get it. You're not going to be able to every day go into your account and look at it, like traders do, because that will drive you crazy. There are some people that specialize in that. Don't become obsessive. It's understanding where you are. I had a woman who actually called me and said, I want to move all my money before the election because I don't know what's going to happen. I get it, but you don't have to do that. You can make some minor adjustments in your current plan and still be very successful. And so again, I invite you to understand, or I invite you to start thinking of yourself as, am I the person that just wants to spend this money, or am I the person that talks about how can I make my money grow? And am I the person that doesn't have a short-term commitment or a short-term goal or a long-term goal? Or maybe I do have it, but I really don't know what the goal is behind that. So that's really important because let me tell you something. You could have hundreds of thousands of dollars in your retirement account, but let's just say you have $500,000 in your retirement account. That may just be $250,000 because of inflation. You see? Or think about this, the value of your dollar is not going to be the same today than it will be 30 years from now. Also, understanding the different things that impact the long-term game, like taxes, like, so taxes being one of them, like inflation, right? And I say if someone with $500,000, but also too, the last time I checked, and don't quote me on this because the last time I checked, the average amount of someone's retirement account is about $83,000 at the time of retirement. Ask yourself, will that be me? Because if it is, then we have to do something to shift that. And again, so start thinking about those things because the goal is to get you to, through Wealthy Wednesday, start thinking about these things in a way that you start realizing what areas of your life. Hello, Masataco. By the way, just got to throw quick little plug to Masataco. I just had your vegan pozole, loved it. And I love your jackfruit tacos, by the way, so bomb. Anyways, that was a total side note. I just thought of them because I saw them. So again, long-term versus short-term, okay? Don't ever act out of fear and making that a permanent state of being. You can make adjustments out of fear, but as soon as you're consistent with your income, again, make the adjustments necessary to play the long-term game and play to win, play to earn. Don't play to lose and play to spend. And look at your finances like a game. Are you winning or are you losing? You're losing every month if you're in debt or if you're living paycheck to paycheck. You already lost. If you live off of I pay myself first and I only spend what I have left over, then you're playing to win, because then we know we're going to take care of you first. Because if you don't take care of you, don't expect the government to take care of you. Don't expect your parents to take care of you. Um, for some of you, I know, and this is just something to think about. And this might hit home for some of you, and please don't take it in any negative way. But I know some people that are asking their parents in their 70s to help them out. That should not be you. If you're in your 30s or 40s, my goal is that you don't ask your 70-year-old parents to help you take care of your finances, because there's no need for that if you're in your 30s or 40s. There's no need for that. I get it, unemployment, I understand that. But you have we're in a very, regardless of all the craziness that has happened in this world, the United States is one of the most powerful, and it's the powerful place to be. You have limitless possibilities. Don't limit your thoughts, and your potential of earning money or the job that you can create. It's a matter of sitting down and asking yourself, what do I envision for myself, and what do I need to do, and how do I need to align myself so that I can be able to manifest these things quicker. And when you do, and you slow yourself down and you start asking yourself these questions about your belief system or where it came from, why it's shaping you, how come it's shaping you, and then you surrender and you say, no longer am I going to be that person, and you learn to reestablish yourself to start thinking differently, then you start attracting and manifesting those things. It's not just going to be like, oh, today I want to be a millionaire. Like, no, it doesn't work that way. You've got to align yourself. You got to be in the flow of your life to be able to attract those things effortlessly. When you're in the flow, things come to you and you're like, oh, how did I land this? Don't say how, just say thank you, and continue to have those higher frequency thoughts so that you can start living and acting from a place of abundance and not fear. Because we do have fear. We all have fear. That's our ego. Our ego makes us believe that we're this tiny. Our ego makes us think, oh my God, there's no way I can have something long term. That's just, I can't. You know, living in faith doesn't mean that you're not scared. You just act as if, like, you know, fear is there, but you ignore it and you just act. You act in faith that it will be there and it'll show up. And if you believe in God, I think most of you guys that follow me know I'm very big about believing in God, things will align. And when they do, don't be surprised. Just accept them with gratitude. And also, as you continue to level yourself up, you also get to bring those that haven't gotten, you know, that continue, not that they're lower than or less than, because they're not, that haven't gotten that message, so that this way, that's the way we help one another. That's the way we take power. That's how we become powerful. And in doing so, we can impact the world, as you can see recently in the recent events that have happened. So for that reason, Ayuda Esperanza says she sees it all the time. So sad, 65-year-olds cashing out retirement. Yes, not acceptable. Not acceptable. And I recently had someone that reached out to me and said, out of fear, I want to cash out my 401k. It's all my entire life savings. And I'm like, no, let me show you what can be done. And when I explained to this person why and how and this, there was peace. There was like, oh, I didn't know that. So he was acting from what he didn't know. And so again, I invite you to sit down and write today. Like, I don't have a little pen or anything, but in a little notebook, write, what's my long-term game? What do I want to, how do I want to be when I'm 60 years old? You know, from energy level to physique to finances. Obviously, you know, I'm going to talk about the finances. But what does that look like for you? I have a client who planned his entire life based off his retirement date. He's like, I knew that I wanted to retire at the age of 65. No day past that. He literally retired at the age of 65 with his house paid off, his car paid off, no credit card debt, money in his bank account, emergency money, money in his cash value life insurance, money in his retirement plan, money in his Roth IRA. Like, he literally had money in his pension plan, money in his Social Security. Like, and he's traveling the world. Like, imagine. That's amazing. So again, what I want for all of you is to start thinking about what's your long-term gain, and are you person one or person two, and how can I be of service to you? How can you use me as a tool for that? My goal is that you guys all take financial boot camp, because that's a really great place to start for you to continue to level yourself up. So again, I hope that today's message was powerful. I hope that, thank you for the love, by the way. Um, I hope that today I was able to create a little sense of new belief that you are powerful, that you have everything it takes, and that we can help you out, and also that it is okay and it is safe for you to let go of your past beliefs, so that this way you can build up new belief systems for yourself and your family, so that this way you could be able to take yourself to the next level and understand what are your short-term goals, mid-term goals, long-term goals, and that you have the power to fund all of them. And you have a community, it's not just me, you have a community of alumni who are creating these things for themselves. You have, like Belia said, we are sources, we are the tools, we will help you, so that this way, um, they say, in the giving is the receiving. And so when you win, we receive. Trust me, we receive, because, in so many different levels. Um, we are all connected in some sort of way. And so helping others, you guys all experience not having human connection, and you know, how crazy that is, and how we all need each other. And so if we all need the human connection of dining and experiencing and helping others and seeing kids and all that, if we all need that, then we've just witnessed how powerful we can when we're all helping one another achieve those goals that we want to achieve. So with that, I leave you guys. And if this is your first time, I hope it's not your last. And if this is your multiple time, continue to hop on. If you have a recommendation on a topic, please send it over our way. And for those that are alumni, thank you for sharing the breakthroughs you have had. And for those that have not experienced Financial Boot Camp, you have the dates now, January 12th, 2021, our very first one. So go check out evamacias.com. And we will be opening up registration this week. So continue to follow us on Instagram and Facebook. So again, thank you guys for your 30 plus minutes of time. Have a great, fantastic rest of your Wealthy Wednesday. Bye, everybody.